In a few short months, my life changed forever. I know my easiest days are behind me, but I don't want them back. Not now. My name is Desmond Miles, and I am an assassin. I am an assassin. Welcome, everybody, to the fourth and final installment to our Assassin's Creed Retrospective series. We never really did have a name for this series in the first place.
We just kind of started talking about them.
Yeah, we just kind of went along, and you know what? That's how we started that way. That's how we'll end. Once again, it's us here at the Cultured Cabbage, your favorite Southern Californian son, along with my friends Carl.
Hello, everyone.
And Jacob.
Yo, guys, what's up?
Yes, in previous installments, we have talked about Altair, Ezio, and Connor, the original three assassins, pretty much close to it. But there was one big chunk of the story that we did not talk about when it came to those characters, and that was man behind it all, Desmond Miles. Their future, they're his ancestor. Carl? Help me out. You're the linguist.
Descendant?
What's descendant? Thank you, Jacob.
No problem.
I was really struggling there. But yes, we're here to talk about Desmond Miles, starting all the way from Assassin's Creed 1 all the way to Assassin's Creed 3 for the most part. You know, we'll mention some other stuff, but that's
in our Connor video, we pretty much only discussed Connor's part of 3, not really what was happening in the modern era.
Yeah, because unlike
did briefly discuss in Revelations.
Yeah, we talked about Desmond briefly in Revelations due to the fact that it's literally Ezio talking to him. So obviously there's that sense of, importance to the plot. I don't know. The character we spent the last 3 games with is now talking to the character we spent the last 4 games with. So it only makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
At least it took him near the end of his life to somewhat realize he's just a pawn in someone else's story.
Man, imagine Ezio realizing that he's not the main character.
That's character development right there.
Something Ubisoft will never admit again. But yes, Carl, Baxman, how's it going?
Well, I've had better days.
Have you had worse?
Oh, yes, I stubbed my toe on my coffee table this morning. Really?
That is horrid. I'm so sorry. Can you tell us about Desmond, please?
Well, Desmond, at the time of his death, he was 25 years old. Spoilers, he died. He was a very young man. I feel like we're at his eulogy. It's just weird. We feel like we're at his eulogy now. But Desmond was born on Friday the 13th, March 13th, 1987. DJ's favorite holiday.
Yes, that's Friday the 13th. Let's go.
When Desmond was 16 years old, he decided he got tired of living in hiding and being an assassin. He wanted to follow his own dream, to become a bloody bartender. The most boring job in the world.
You get to meet a lot of interesting people, so.
You also get to be questioned by the police almost every day if you're not careful. Mainly in New York. His dad worked in New York City from South Dakota, in the really, really in the middle of nowhere.
Good Lord.
But unfortunately,
that's where people go to disappear.
And he left from coming to disappear to becoming the most famous person to two particular organizations. The Templars.
Can I guess?
The second one, sure. I already said the
Skynet.
No.
Cyberlife.
No.
InGen.
No, I think it was Bloom. I think the Bloom organization was after him.
Weapon X.
That's Canada. You don't want nobody.
Are you sure? I remember Desmond Miles being a prolific member of Alpha Flight.
No, nobody really important was on Alpha Flight minus Wolverine, Deadpool.
I was gonna say there is. Jacob, help me out here. What secret evil company was it?
Amazon.
Amazon
was trying to take him back.
No, it was Twitter.
Walmart.
They tried to put him in stock.
That's what it was. Walmart. Nah, for real. Abstergo.
Yep. Run by the Templar organization.
That's fun.
And the other organization that wanted him was the Assassins, his previous home.
That's where his dad is, and his other family. We don't really see them. Mostly his dad.
Yeah, because his dad was the only one who decided to come after him and hire the other 3 idiots to find him.
I wonder how that went.
Not very well, because one died.
We should probably get into that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
That's certainly
any more background you want to give on us, Carl, or should we jump straight into Assassin's Creed 1?
Let me me see, because he doesn't. Unlike Altair, and Connor, they were regulated minus Ezio, obviously, was regulated to one game. Desmond was in all five, so there's not much I can't go into what development happened to him because he died. Only thing I say is he appeared two times in the franchise at the bottom. He appeared in Assassin's Creed 1 with Altair, Assassin's Creed 2, 3, and Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations with Altair, with Ezio. 4 appeared in 3 with Connor, appeared in the online website Assassin's Creed Initiate, and was in a flashback scene for Assassin's Creed Blades of Yojin, and was the reader in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. He was only mentioned in Black Flag, Syndicate, Origins, and Rebellion, and Honesty.
Awesome.
He makes some appearances outside of his original.
I mean, he is technically the main character of this series when you really think about it. At least for
makes him kind of hard to replace.
A good chunk of it. Yeah. Let's start off with
Actually, here's one thing I found from Nolan North, the voice actor for Desmond Miles.
Go right ahead.
According to Mr. North, the original plan for Desmond's story was that he would appear in 6 games, which he almost did, pretty close, using the Animus to acquire the skills of each of his ancestors. By the last game, he would eventually become the ultimate assassin and be able to travel back and forth into different eras. So he'd become Marty McFly.
Yay!
But a more competent Marty McFly.
Marty was competent.
Yeah, he was an idiot and had a very quick trigger.
Hey, you know that saved his life.
And it also got him in trouble a few times too. Nearly wrecked the future too.
Excuses.
Okay, now you may go.
Yes. Moving into Assassin's Creed 1. This is probably the game that Desmond features the least in, probably. Mostly because he's just the plot device as to why we're looking through Altair's memories. But, obviously by this point we've established how Abstergo is using the Animus to find, the piece of Eden, because very powerful artifact, evil company. It just makes sense. They want to rule the world and all that crap.
Well, I think the game is actually very crucial to understanding the context of Abstergo.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I think that he serves as like the audience confused on why he's there and their intentions. I don't know. There's just a little bit more to his appearance in that game.
And that makes plenty of sense. But yeah, and like I said, Desmond doesn't really do much in this game. It's just like him, us going back out of the Animus for a while, in between some of the sequences, and then
you me if I'm wrong, Ghosty. As our audience knows, these two morons are only two that played the first game.
Yep.
Because I've only played the remasters, which were Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
They've never technically remastered the first game, Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but you weren't allowed to jump in and out. You didn't have a choice.
No.
You popped in, you were forced to pop out, which I think either 2 or Brotherhood, you were allowed to jump in and out.
I'm pretty sure it was Brotherhood is when you could first jump in and out.
Yeah, you couldn't do that in 2. You were kind of stuck.
Yeah, okay. and the first one, it was completely just based upon the, where you were in the plot. You'd get out for a while. And there really wasn't that much to do. Like, you could have conversations with Warren Vidic and Lucy Stillman. But that was about it.
Hey, what's the matter with you out there?
Hey, what's the matter with you out there? That's racist. You're racist.
That's pretty good.
We're all racist.
But yeah. So yeah, there wasn't really, much to Desmond in this first game. Not to say that he's, boring or anything in this game, because he's not. But he would obviously take more center stage later on. But by the end of the game, he sees the markings on the inside of his jail cell, pretty much. And by the time the second game rolls around, Lucy breaks them out, and they skedaddle, and then they go to a completely different location, which I'm forgetting because it's been a very long time since I played Assassin's Creed 2.
Let me scroll back up to see if I can find it.
It's probably not that important, but yeah, it's the secret location hid away. And that's also where we meet Sean and Rebecca, 2 actually really great side characters, in my opinion.
Sean is the snarky fella.
Oh yeah, the snarky British fella. Yeah. How do you guys feel about Sean and Rebecca?
I think they're pretty cool.
And by extension, Lucy. How did you feel about them?
I felt Sean always felt like the guy who always had the stick up his ass. You know that guy.
He
The
reminds
guy
me
who
of
always,
you.
hey, I'm not that big of a stick up my ass kind of guy.
No. I'm just yanking your chain.
I know. But it was like whatever, no matter how, like, how do I find a good example of this?
No matter how good you were doing, he'd always find a way to bring you down.
Pretty much. Like if you, okay, I know I've used this example before, but some people in the Ben Tech community would always use this phrase: if you ever take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you don't. Sounds like the guy who could count only this backward step. You wouldn't count the step forward.
Yeah. He would definitely warm up more as the series went on, though.
Yeah, we have it later. We have a quote by Sean about Mr. Desmond.
Yes, that will be closing our episode later on. Although my favorite version of Sean probably has to be from just Assassin's Creed 3 because he's still the same character, but you know he's actually putting in actual insight. I don't know, that kind of a weird concept.
Well, yeah, they got rid of the more likable character.
What about you, Jacob? What do you think about Sean?
I think Sean is interesting. I just think one problem that he has is that he never really changes. That's my only problem is he stays the same all throughout the
That's fair.
4 games.
And the only reason I'm bringing up like the side characters now is because obviously they're going to be sticking around for like the next few games. So obviously we need to, give the audience more, not context, but more insight.
But the most important character I think we talk about is, of course, Lucy was produced in 1 as the lab assistant to the doctor.
Yeah, again, the human story in 1 doesn't really, take that much of the game. Like it's probably the one that takes up the least out of the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, and we only really see 3 characters, that being Desmond, Lucy, and Warren Vidic. So
Does
it's
he
not
appear
exactly.
does he appear in the other games, or is he gone after 1?
No, he's there in 2. I think he's there in Brotherhood. Obviously you don't see him in Revelations, but and you kill him in 3.
Oh, wait. Oh, I guess I forgot that. It's been a minute since I've played those games.
We'll get back to that part later, but yeah, he is in the other ones minus Revelations because that's another one that we'll get to. Yeah, you escape. You do more funny assassin stuff with Ezio. Like 2, it does more than 1, but 2 also really doesn't have that much when it comes to like the outside the Animus stuff because like we mentioned, you couldn't like leave the Animus whenever you wanted by this point, and it was just the one place that you stayed at the entire time. So.
You can somewhat go outside.
Well, yeah, you could, but it wasn't like something that you could consistently do like the Brotherhood and 3.
I think
and
one thing that these games actually did extremely well was making every game feel like a sequel to the next one.
Yeah,
not just
like a direct sequel.
After 2, they go to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Or no, they go to Montergione.
Yeah, they go to Montergione. They go to the Coliseum in Brotherhood.
Yeah. So they set up in the place where you're going, so you can see the future of how it turns out,
which is really cool.
Another thing I think is important is how skeptical he always is.
Yeah, because obviously Desmond he left the Assassin Order because he just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. That's not the life he wanted to live, and life gonna hold him back in. Obviously he if it was really up to him, he wouldn't be there. So it's obviously to have that reluctant hero.
In this game, he learns about the Isu, I think they're called, and how they play a role, and they explain how everyone in history has contributed a lot, and they've either been on the side of Order or the side of the assassins. Templars or assassins. Like I believe Jesus Christ is like an assassin or something. I don't know. I forgot. What is he?
It's like how in freaking X-Men where they say JFK was a mutant.
But yeah, this whole world opens up to him. So he's kind of like, whoa, I have to play a bigger part in this than I thought I did.
Yeah.
That's kind of where this starts to heat up, and it's gonna get even crazier in Brotherhood, because it's been shown that so in Assassin's Creed 2 we learn about Subject 16. Person right before him kind of goes crazy, and all the time spent the Animus, you end up like detaching from reality, which is an unintended side effect, and we start to see the effects of that later on. They kind of they set things up really well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
if you're playing them all over.
And some may say that he is like chosen one syndrome. I don't see it.
Well, I think what actually happened is he's just there at the right time.
Yeah, and by 2, we do get more insight insight about the conflict between the Templars and the Assassins, and we get introduced to the bleeding effect. That's how Desmond is being trained to become an assassin, pretty much. So
the bleeding effect is actually shown in the this is a manga, but shown in the Assassin's Chronicles China manga, where it literally starts messing with the perception of reality. You can't tell what's real and what's not real. So it is a thing. It's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and by the end of the game, we kind of have to get the hell out of there because Abstergo finds us. Womp womp.
And so where do they go but the Colosseum?
No, they go to Monterrejoni. Then we go to the Coliseum because they find the sub basement. It had a name. I can't remember what it was called though. It was the room with the statues of all the great assassins.
Yeah,
the Sanctuary.
Is that what it's called?
It says here in the Wikipedia, to the Abstergo attack on their warehouse base, the assassins traveled to Monterrejoni, one of the last assassin safe houses in Italy. As the Templars are actively searching for them, and they were analyzing the surrounding environment via the use of cell phone tires, the assassins group are also held up in their equipment underground in the sanctuary located underneath the Villa alla Torre.
Well, there we go. So yeah, that's kind of where it's just the second game, leaves off. Again, there's not too much, but we do get some more, character development from Desmond, a bit more fleshing out of his personality, just to get to see more what kind of a guy he is before, we start really learning about him, especially in Brotherhood and Revelations. Speaking of, what do one of you guys want to take those? And then whoever doesn't go can take 3, since that one's probably the biggest chunk.
Yeah, I'll take Brotherhood.
All right.
So Brotherhood starts with first month they leave Monterrejoni and they actually go to the Colosseum because at the end of 2 they find out where the Apple of Eden is. So they're in their mind they're trying to get it before the Templars do. That's really if you want to boil down the story of the modern day, that's what it is. Finding it, going through the Animus to find the memories before the Apple of Eden gets found by the Templars. Essentially what happens is he goes. We already covered his Ezio's story of that game, but he really just learns more about Isu and more about the Assassin Order, more about how they work, and eventually he gets orders from Minerva, who he doesn't actually know yet, never met her before, but he takes the Apple of Eden and he gets infinite wisdom, and he kills Lucy, who he was actually kind of falling in love with. So that's what I'm saying. You should probably play these games. Summaries do not do it justice. But after that, we find out Lucy was actually a traitor working for the Templars. So kind of justified in a way. No one else knew because he falls asleep after, but he falls dead and ends up in the Animus, which leads us to our next game. You want to cover that, Carl?
I thought I was doing 3, not.
Oh.
Yeah. Carl, you'll take 3, and Jacob will also take Revelations.
Okay, I'll cover that one as well then.
Because Revelations is definitely where that and 3 are probably the biggest chunks of his story, because that's where we get the most development from Desmond specifically.
Yeah. So Desmond before now has kind of been this guy who was unwilling, but after he gets the mission from Minerva, he ends up in the Animus with Subject 16, who is one I mentioned before, but Subject 16 kind of tells him that you can't escape from here. Once you're stuck, you can't leave. But he tries to leave, and so you end up in this really cool area where it's like this destroyed section with incomplete memories. So you find all the memories, and this is where we talked about it in our video of Ezio, where he actually meets him and he says the whole speech to Desmond, and this kind of changes him. Talking to Ezio just kind of makes him realize that he has a purpose beyond what he thought he did. Would you agree, Carl?
I would agree. Sorry for the yawn.
Would you agree that meeting Ezio and having him talk to him kind of changed him?
Oh yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
Not only that, but that kind of changed the entire course of the game when you really think about it. Because there is, to my knowledge, no other time where a character actually mentions, their future counterpart.
Technically during the second game, when Ezio gets the staff and the apple, Minerva appears and talks to Desmond, and he's like, "Who the hell is Desmond?"
He can kind of hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
After that encounter, he comes back to the real world and he meets his dad actually.
He does, which is really awkward.
He doesn't particularly like him after he's been
because
gone
he kind of cites his dad as one of the reasons he left off in the first place.
So it's not a very kind meeting, but here we see, we already know his personality. We know he'll react to things.
Yeah.
And after being in the animus for so long, he kind of he wants to go on his own and so he actually does more assassin missions, which brings us over to 3.
Yes, sir. You ready, Carl?
Yeah, I'm getting to that section of the game.
No.
So Desmond, William, Sean, and William is his dad, by the way, and Rebecca figure out they need to go to the Grand Temple, which, if I'm remembering right, is in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I don't know actually where it is. But...
Where Desmond
consider the fact that they're like a nice Sunday walk from the Davenport homestead. Sounds about right.
Where Desmond uses the great full of Eden he took from during the Brotherhood when after he stabbed Lucy. They use it to open the door to the temple, which shows it requires a key to get into the inner chamber. Due to this and Desmond's mind becoming into a very my brain's going stupid on me now.
Don't worry.
I guess.
Fatigue state, he spent too much time in that animus. That is dad.
The bleeding effect.
Oh yeah, it says through the events causes Desmond's mind to enter a brief fatigue state. That's what the Wikipedia page says.
He's kind of like that. I was talking about earlier, the bleeding effect.
It's messing with him.
He was placed back into the NMS by the team upon revealing the memories of Arth, which was a weird section of this game, to go into Hatham Kenway, a Templar who had possession of the key. Desmond learned that ultimately Hatham's illegitimate son Connor would be in possession of it. Desmond decides to look through his memories to find the artifact. Desmond occasionally leaves the animus to explore the chamber of the temple, where he often comes across Juno, who has done in the Colosseum Ball. He explains to him the detail of the 6 methods the first civilization tried to use to save the Earth from the previous apocalypse, as well as continue to urge him towards finding the key. However, Desmond experiences an interruption in the animus when it's revealed that the Templar's power source is running low and that they need to find a new one. Damn AA batteries!
Yeah. They're going out of style in the apocalypse.
Thanks to Sean, he tracked down some, which can be found in Manhattan, in New York City. Desmond journeys there. What?
I was gonna say, in this game, the actual in real world, the Desmond missions were actually really fun.
They're interesting, for sure.
You finally get to do shit.
It was kind of almost a nice change of pace. Obviously, the Assassin's Creed games are obviously based in the past, so obviously you're gonna do that. But this was the first time you ever were really put in a setting in the modern day. Kind of weird.
Which he climbs into the skyscraper of Abstergo, parachutes from a crane to another building where he gets the power source. While there, he encounters a Templar operative named Daniel Cross, who he disarms and then knocks the crap out of as he escapes. I think he knocked him right on his butt. I think he knocks him on his butt too. Go away. After exploring the temple, Desmond came to the realization whatever we're waiting for the assassin behind that door would ultimately benefit Juno in some way. Which he is right. Although, as Desmond was unsure of how it would be so, he also warned the others to play it safe, it says in air quotes. Desmond also reveals to the others that when Juno appeared to him in the Colosseum vault, she showed him a vision that would have kept Lucy alive. She would have taken the apple to Sturgo for the unification of the Eye of Sturgo satellite. There it would ultimately fail. Because of this, Desmond came to terms with the fact that he would not force to kill Lucy, but instead did it to stop the Templars from gaining the upper hand.
Yeah, this was
a DLC to explain why they did that, because I think they got a lot of backlash for why did they kill Lucy in Brotherhood.
Yeah, I remember that there was a DLC, and pretty sure it was Revelations.
It was one of the two. I don't remember which one it was. I know it was a DLC because I remember listening. Go ahead, DJ.
I was just gonna say, I believe it was in Revelations where they do explain the fact that Lucy was a double agent, but obviously, they explain it in this game to confirm that that happened.
It's a shame they had to be on DLC though.
So after Desmond escapes he reveals what happened with Lucy. Sometime later, Sean discovers a power source that could be the business of a wealthy woman who is set to attend a martial art tournament in Brazil.
Oh, let's go to Brazil.
This is one of my favorite missions.
After arriving at the stadium and sneaking from the rafters, Desmond arrives at the room where the woman is staying, only to find Daniel Cross one more time again.
Not again.
I want to say something funny about this mission. if you just kind of hang around these two guys arguing, you find out that one of them picked the other's sister. You can hear them arguing.
It was like I swear, like when I saw that, because I got that the little dialogue option. It was like, man, I feel like I just got transported to an Arkham game all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it was a pretty cool little stadium as well. But yeah, keep going.
So then Daniel, a mean man, the very evil man, decides to shoot a woman and her husband and attempts to flee with a power source. However, Desmond was able to catch up with him, eventually beats the crap out of him in hand-to-hand combat, and gets the power source from him again. He knocks it out. With the power source in hand, Desmond fled from the Aspergo agent pursuing him and escaped the stadium by boarding a train, where he and his team leave Brazil aboard the Altair 2. It's a funny name for a plane.
Yeah, makes you wonder.
Then returns back to Massachusetts at the Grand Temple. Soon after their team returns to the temple, John locates a third power source in Egypt, specifically in Cairo, where the big pyramids are. However, as the team's deadline of December 21st was rapidly approaching, Desmond had yet to locate the key of the Templar. William was sent to retrieve the artifact in Desmond's place. And then Desmond's dad gets captured. The assassins team is sent a video by Warren Vidic, who explains that Abstergo agents have grabbed William at the museum and brought him to Abstergo's Roman facility. He states that in order to set his father free, Desmond would need to hand over the Apple of Eden. Soon after, Desmond travels to the facility with Sean and Rebecca in tow. Upon arriving at the building, Desmond was offered a peaceful trade over the intercom, but he refused. Desmond then fought the security guards as he made his way through the building, eventually arriving in the Animus room where he had been held months beforehand. There, Daniel Cross, yet again, man, this guy really is a thorn in Desmond's side.
Whenever I hear his name, I always think they're talking about
Darren Cross.
Yeah, Darren Cross. Freaking, he wasn't even the Yellow Jacket in the comics. He was just a big lad.
He confronts Desmond, ordering him that he hand over the apple. Before Daniel could shoot Desmond, however, he suffered from the bleeding effect triggered by the apple, causing him suddenly to speak Russian. Panicked, Daniel fled, and Desmond chased after him with the apple. Eventually, the two end up in the room for the Templars' Animus training program, as Desmond catches up with Cross and kills him finally, and takes his gun from him.
This is actually sweet, too, because obviously it's not the first time you could ever use a gun in an Assassin's Creed game, but like this is an actual gun. It's not like the hidden gun. It's not flintlock or a musket or something. Like it's an actual gun with a silencer on it that you can use to just one shot every enemy, like for the rest of this level. It's really unique for this game.
Desmond proceeds to ride the elevator up to the 5th floor where Vindic's office is located, killing any security guards that cross his path. As Desmond reaches the way up to his office, Vindic explains his anger over the intercom, stating that Daniel was like a son to him, and that Desmond and the assassins took what they did not belong to them, such as the Apple of Eden and Lucy's life. Eventually, Desmond made his way to Vindic's office, where William was being restrained. Very bloody, if I remember right.
Yeah, he wasn't looking too good.
After Vindic told Desmond to give him the apple, Desmond uses it to control the security guards in the room, forcing one to shoot and kill Vindic before the influence of them all to shoot themselves in the head. Very kamikaze style.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Also, this part of the game is where I legit jumped out of my seat and I said, and I quote, "Yes, F you."
Very satisfying.
This is a nice thing. After freeing his father, Desmond hugged his dad.
Aww.
Desmond took the third power source and left the building with DJ's cookies from his house.
Wait a second.
Hold on. How did that?
Wait a second. I thought we were in Massachusetts.
Yeah, he went to your house and stole your cookies from you.
You went cross country?
Yeah, you heard that your mother makes you good batch cookies.
How the hell did he do that? I thought they had like 4 days to do this.
How did Vindic do it? It was in Vindic's office. Desmond just stole them.
How did cookies get there?
Because Vindic heard that your mother makes a really good batch of cookies.
Freaking Abstergo, they're everywhere, man. You can't even have cookies in Detroit.
We're not in Detroit.
Yeah, well, we're not in Massachusetts either, apparently.
No. Right now we're in Rome.
Italy or Georgia?
Which Georgia?
The one with Rome in it.
It'd be funny if they both have a Rome in them.
They probably do.
Like how there's two Georges. It's odd.
I mean, every continent has at least one city called Rome in it. Here's your fun fact of the day.
Yeah. So then they would go back to the temple. Once they arrive back to the temple, he places the power source in his side and receives the details of the last two solutions for the first century attempt and re-enters the Animus one last time. After Desmond gets more memories of Connors, Desmond learns that the assassins eventually buried the key to the temple outside Davenport Manor in Massachusetts. The team travels there and retrieves it from Dr. Connors' gravesite before they return to the temple, using the key to open the final. Desmond, William, Sean, and Rebecca proceed into the temple's deepest chamber. Upon arriving in the final room, which contains a large orb in the center of it, the assassins are greeted by Juno, who states that Desmond should touch the orb, the world would be saved. However, immediately after this, Minerva appears, arguing with Desmond, begging, pleading to touch it. She explains that Juno had previously tried to use the first civilization technology to conquer the world rather than save the world, and that she was sealed inside the temple, so she would not be able to do so again. While the device would save the world from the impending solar flare, it would kill Desmond and release Juno, allowing her to continue her quest to conquer the world and enslave all of humanity.
That'd be pretty rough.
Shocked by Minerva's appearance, Juno told her to show Desmond what would happen if the solar flare was not stopped. Minerva stated that while the majority of the Earth's population would die, there would be a small amount of survivors. Desmond would become a symbol of love and hope for the new world, similar to Jesus Christ. Though following his death, his message would eventually be misinterpreted and be corrupted by those who followed, and lead to war, thus repeating the cycle of religious conflict throughout history again. Despite this, Minerva pleads for Desmond to let the world burn instead of saving and releasing Juno. Desmond states that if Juno was released, there would still be a slim chance that humanity would be able to stop, while if the world was allowed to be subject to natural disaster by the solar flare host, billions would die, and there would be no Superman to save them. And DJ, wake up. We have no.
I am completely awake. Although something I really wish they had done in this game is that I really wish they'd actually given you a choice. Like at this point,
that would be cool.
Like Far Cry 3 style, because like obviously and
5 they do it in 5 too.
Yeah, and obviously, the ending we got is the canon ending compared to, the ending where the earth burns to ash and, Desmond becomes Jesus. But it would have been cool to, have that as like an alternate ending that you could have chosen.
I agree.
Acknowledging Desmond's decision, Minerva states that the consequences of his decision he would live and die. With his mind set on his choice, Desmond turns to his dad, Sean, and Rebecca, and commands them to get as far away from the temple as possible. His dad pleads with him to reconsider this decision. They'd find another way, but Desmond refused, stating that it was too late to find another option. With this, his dad, Sean, and Rebecca hurry to leave. After the three of escape, Desmond walks to the orb. Juno watches as he touches it with his hand. His body shocks violently with electricity for a few moments, and is shot with a bright gold of light. After a brief time, Desmond falls to the ground, sacrificing his life to protect the planet from the second disaster. After Juno walks away from his body out of the temple and thanks him for releasing her from her prison.
So that sets up the future games, actually.
Yep. Although for the most part, that's where Desmond's stories ends.
You could talk. Do you want to talk about his appearances in later ones, or do they matter at all?
I can read this section. It literally says his post-mortem and his legacy. It won't take me. It's only a few paragraphs. It won't take me very long. Unless TJ doesn't want me to do it, then I won't do it.
Nah, go ahead.
Okay. Desmond's body was eventually discovered by Abstergo several hours after his death, and eventually an immediate autopsy was performed with various DNA samples being extracted in the process. Case Fisher, the lead Abstergo sample recoverist in Unit 3, noted that aside from several burned arm and fused bones in the right hand, Desmond's body is in good condition. Upon completion of the autopsy, Desmond's body was removed, while his bag and personal belongings were collected for analysis. His genetic memories were uploaded into the Abstergo database. Within a year, Desmond's memories were being exploited by the Abstergo Entertainment industry in the multimedia branch of the Abstergo Industries. For this use, the Sample 17 project. Many of his ancestors' memories were subsequently explored by, which includes a sheep farmer named Bernard Tenway, his son Edward, the father of Hatham, and his grandfather of Con. Data from the mobile phone of Desmond was also recovered by Abstergo Entertainment. On their server, this data included photos of the team, voice memos toward his father, revealing Desmond's feelings of regret over leaving the farm and accepting the role that he had played. By 2015, assassin surveillance drone named in the honor of Desmond alongside other drones, all named after fallen assassins, and was used during the mission conducted by Bishop. The Desmond drone was later destroyed by Templar officer Judah Berg beneath the Abuna Palace vault during the chase for the Shroud of Eden. Eventually, 2 years later, after the fleeing of the assassin Desmond Miles, a woman whom he unknowingly assisted their son. Elijah's mother brought the child to Abstergo Clinic in New York City, being unaware of the company's affiliation or existence of the Templar Order. Throughout the analysis of his lineage, Abstergo learned off of the boy's his line. Further analysis revealed that the child was also a sage. Although Dr. Avino wanted to kidnap the boy and dissect him for experimentation, Elizabeth planned to abduct Elijah when he was old, put him in the Animus for 50 years. She's really messed up. So you put a child in for 50 years so she could study his genetic memories for both his ancestors and Allah. Well, Elijah would eventually become the leader of a member of the Instrument of the First Will, only to betray them afterwards. Elijah would help the assassins defeat Juno, which happened in a column, which is really messed up. How dare you end a movie by August of 2020 during the game Valhalla? Desmond's mind had been spent 8 years in the gray. In this time, he had transformed into a being of light, calling himself the Reader, helping the assassin Layla Hampton enter the gray via the issue illumination device to find the way to slow down the magnetism of the planet. The global Orbita device. Layla shows the Reader more possibilities and calculations based on the timelines he has not explored. The Reader, Desmond, then told Layla she has a minute to live as the radiation from the chamber is killing her body. Layla then decides to stay in the gray with the Reader and explore more timelines.
Well, there you go.
That's what we have up to now with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't know where we're gonna go in Assassin's Creed Mirage.
So, legit question.
Yes.
How do y'all feel about Desmond?
For me, he was the OG assassin, at least the OG character. We got to see him go through a lot, and he was a very well-written character as well. He was like the average guy. I think there's something special about him. He was just an average guy.
Yeah.
He might have been part of the assassins, but he didn't have like superpowers.
Yeah.
He just happened to have great ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Carl?
He served his purpose. He was just a pawn to save the world.
It's less dramatic when you put it that way. But yeah.
To end off the episode, we should read that quote from Sean.
And you know what, DJ? Put
Yes.
the quote on. Put this quote on screen for everybody.
You want me to put the Sean one up there?
Yes.
I mean, I can read it to the audience.
I'd say
do both. I'd say do both.
No, that's too much work. I'll read it off. It comes from Sean. I had this colleague. He was our boss's son. I didn't mean much. I didn't much care for him at that time. There we go. Everyone treated him like he was so bloody special. To me, he wasn't just invested in anything that didn't affect himself personally. I was wrong about him. He became my friend. He pulled himself through hell, and he saved us all in the end. So I reckon, well, I can't apologize to him, but I can. I don't know. I have to live up to him as his example.
I think this shows really who Desmond was, because Desmond was not just, we talk about character development. He's not just he was a regular guy who went to the role of the hero.
Yeah, I mean, he hated being in the Assassin's Order. He left. Abstergo came along and tried to exploit him. Now the Assassins come and saved him. He's still not quite ready to go back into that life yet. He doesn't trust them. He just thinks they'll accept him.
And then, and I think we were talking earlier, but his encounter with Ezio, a previous character we've talked about in videos, did change him also, because he was able to live his entire life, basically. He was able to experience everything he did. It helped him out a lot. But those are just my thoughts.
What are your thoughts, Carl?
On Desmond, I think he served his purpose. He did get the short end of the stick.
He really did. I mean, he gave up his life to save us, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. And honestly, the more and more time I spent with him, the more and more time that I wanted to spend with him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like,
also, Nolan North's voice acting is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean Nolan North voices a lot of characters, but this is actually one of those subtle ones from out. And yeah, like no complaints here. Desmond has a unique voice, character arc, everything that shapes him into probably the most important character in the series. Maybe that's just me.
No, he's definitely the most important. In the list, I have the list of all the main games. He appears, or at least is mentioned in every one of them. He's mentioned in Black Flag. He is mentioned in Syndicate. He's mentioned in Origin. Is it indirect, but he is also mentioned in Rebellion. He is mentioned in Odyssey.
Yeah, there's no way of escaping him. He's gonna be there forever.
And he's the reason.
I think that sets a kind of sets up unrealistic expectations for the next character to show up.
Oh yeah,
because they did not know where to go after.
Because for Black Flag, Syndicate, and Unity, and I don't remember what the fourth one was, they didn't have a main character. The main character was you, and I don't mean like some random guy. I mean, yeah, you, the player playing the game. You are the main character.
It makes sense with the lore. I mean, you're an Abstergo agent, are accessing the memories from him, but still didn't feel the same.
It wasn't until Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla we got a new main character. I said her name earlier, but it was
Layla.
Layla. Come here.
I'm sure the last name will come up somehow.
Layla Hassan.
There we go. But yeah, I mean, Desmond is just a great character, probably a very realistic character, very, grounded and, centered on his morals.
Yeah. He's the standard teenage. He's the teenage guy who doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps.
Yeah, you can put it like that.
Until he's unfortunately forced to. Literally, to save the world, he has to go down his father's footsteps.
Yeah, you do. But, my good fellows, is there anything else we want to say about Desmond?
Yeah. What's the matter with you, Altair?
What's the matter with you, Altair? Hey, he's the descendant of Ezio. He can do that.
But,
he has the Italian pass.
I guess this is the final episode of Retrospective. I love Assassin's Creed.
This has been kind of a journey, us doing this video series. We went through Altair, Ezio, Connor, and now Desmond. Kind of crazy, kind of putting a close on this journey that we all sort of took together.
And we actually played through these games also.
We did. Yes, we did.
Somewhat reviewed them. I don't know.
Yeah,
this is one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time, mostly because of these first 6 games.
Oh, really, Jacob?
Yeah, you're talking to the guy who has 3 copies of Assassin's Creed 3.
More like 6 of Revelation.
It's only 4. Okay.
My point exactly.
He's got you there. He's got you there, Jacob.
DJ owns 1 copy of each of these games, except for 1. He accidentally has a second copy of 1.
Yeah, I got a digital copy because I got the black box version of, or whatever it was called, of Revelations, and it had a digital version of 1 on the disc. I didn't know about that, but that's what I got.
Yep.
Most of my purchase came from getting them on PC. But I have the first 6 on PC, the first 5. I also have them on pretty much all of them on console as well. That's where that comes from. Essentially, if you were just to buy a game on a different platform. That's why I have it so much.
We know, Jacob. It's just fun to annoy you with that fun system.
Okay, but the Assassin's Creed Revelations lineage looks really cool.
No, Jacob, no.
I'm gonna fuel my Assassin's Creed addiction.
Okay, Jacob, we need you to quit your new job right now so you can't buy more Assassin's Creed games.
Addiction is more like your crutch.
Crutch for what?
Would you say this is almost like? Would you say Assassin's Creed is like Jacob's crutch?
Yes.
If anyone knows me, they know I like Zelda more.
I mean, yeah, but still.
Well, Zelda's like your heroine.
It's an absolutely fantastic game franchise, and that I'm really glad we got to finally sit down and cover. Because I know we always talked about wanting to do this, and now that we kind of finally did it, pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's like this feeling of relief.
Yeah, but there really isn't much else to say other than I'm glad I got to do this with you guys to close the book. On this quartet of characters. Now we got to bring the series back and do every side character.
Oh.
We got to make a full episode about Yusuf.
Yes, we need
No.
Da Vinci.
No.
And Uncle Mario.
Yes, Uncle Mario.
No.
What about the villains?
Yeah, we went over the villains. We went over the main villain, Abstergo, the Templars.
No, what about Al Mualim?
He's a pawn. He's a pawn in the big plan.
What about Cesare Borgia?
Stella Pawn.
Dude
What
became
about the
Pope.
What about the Pope?
Dude became Pope so he could avoid Ezio.
Still upon.
What about the guy who wanted to get with his sister?
No, that is the guy you're talking about.
No, Cesare became the Pope.
Yeah, the guy tried to get with his sister or somebody else.
Yeah.
But
Oh
you
wait,
get
no,
the scary end
no,
twist.
that was Cesare. We're thinking of Rodrigo Borgia. He was
That's
the guy
what I
who
was
became
saying.
It doesn't matter. They're all pawns in the Abstergo minus the guy who was going after his sister. I
No,
thought he had.
You guys forgot about the main villain. That
Bring
one,
me Charles Lee.
the flying machine from Assassin's Creed 2.
No,
The main villain.
no, give me Lee.
Or that one boat mission from Assassin's Creed 2. The main villain.
Or how about the main villain being water in the first game?
Scariest thing ever. I mean, he lives in the Middle East. He's never seen water before.
It's so dry.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it checks out.
But that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Anything else you want to put in there, Carl? All right. Then on behalf of my friends, Carl and Jacob.
See you guys later.
This is your favorite Southern Californian son signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Peace, y'all.